Hey guys, let's talk about Hacksaw Ridge, a movie directed by Mel Gibson. We all know who Mel Gibson is, but probably not a lot of people realize actually how good of a director he is. I always go back to Apocalypto. If you haven't seen Apocalypto, I must be close to like 8 or 9 years old, maybe 10 years old at this point. I might be dating it way too much at that point, but that is a really under the radar, underappreciated movie. Uh, really visceral and kind of a raw movie, but an outstanding one by Mel Gibson. Hacksaw Ridge is also a very solid outing by Mel Gibson. Not my favorite, but a solid one. It stars, who do we got here? We got Vince Vaughn, Hugo Weaving, Sam Worthington, and then, of course, Andrew Garfield playing the lead role of Desmond Doss. Now, Desmond Doss is a little bit of a local legend out here in the Lynchburg area, which is where Desmond Doss is from. He was a Seventh day Adventist who refused to touch a rifle in World War II, but he wanted to do his part and he wanted to save people's lives. Um, Now, when it comes to British based actors like Hugo Weaving and Andrew Garfield doing American Southern accents, it's usually just gonna be the cringiest things to watch, or at least I always feel like that going into it. But I have to say, they do an outstanding job between the two of them. I know Hugo Weaving kind of got a little bit of flack. I've at least heard from other people saying that they didn't like his casting as Desmond Doss's father. I thought he did a solid job in the movie, and um, being originally from Massachusetts and understanding how bad it can be to hear Boston accents in movies, how poorly done it can be. I'm always get a little bit worried, but both of them do a great job, and I think they're just fine in this movie. Um, Andrew Garfield, especially, super likable dude. I don't know what it is about. I think I'm starting to like him more and more in movies because he's just got that type of personality that you can tell that you would just like being around him. Just seems like a likable guy. That's the same way in this movie. The only person that I don't understand cast in this movie was Vince Vaughn. Um, I'm a huge fan of his comedies. Wedding Crashers is probably my all-time favorite comedy. Love that movie. Love that movie. And he's got this wisecrackness to him, and you all know it because he plays the same role in every movie. It's this kind of run-on sentence, kind of just constant, just quippy remarks all the time. He's kind of the same way in this movie, and he's supposed to be the sergeant, a well-respected person, and it just I could never get into it. It took me out of the movie so many times, and that was kind of a bummer, at least on the casting side of it. I just feel like they could have gone a different route with it, and I maybe they didn't want to just be stereotypical. I'm not sure. Either way, it just took me out of it a little bit. But outside of that, casting is great from front to back. Awesome. Now the movie is pretty slow in the first. Man, it's probably a little bit more than half of the movie. The first parts of it are really kind of the backstory and then boot camp. I understand why it exists that way. The idea is you're supposed to understand where Desmond Doss is coming from and then his struggles as he's trying to go through boot camp and eventually getting him into World War II and into actual fighting. But those parts can drag, and it's kind of rehashing what we already know and are understanding. They've already made these things pretty clear, and I felt like it just went on a little bit too long. It got to a point where I'm kind of looking at my watch and wondering, are we going to see shooting here eventually? Is there going to be some kind of... It's a war film, ultimately. You got to get to the action at some point, and it was taking a while to get to that and kind of build it up, and it got just a little excessive at points, but pretty much a fairly minor critique by the end of it. Because when you do get to the action, it's totally worth it. Mel Gibson has an eye for this kind of stuff, for the more visceral action type scenes, and this one does not hold back. You are going to see limbs blown off. You're going to see bodies decimated, blood and guts. You're going to get it all, and it doesn't hold back on any of that, which I think adds to just how amazing Desmond Doss is as a person to go into this with no rifle, just looking to help and save people's lives. And that's outstanding. And I think that kind of helps build his character to its ultimate conclusion. There was one scene towards the end of it that I thought was super out of place. It it it's a Japanese character, um, and I have no clue why this scene is taking place. There was at no point do you see any actual character development of any of the Japanese characters in this movie, which is okay. It's fine. It's focused on Desmond Doss, and yet they do this very ceremonial ending scene with one of these Japanese characters. I have no clue I was there. I still can't figure it out. I keep trying to recap. Like, did something happen? Did something stick out here? I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. Oddly placed in this movie, and it comes towards the end as kind of like a final conclusion there. So yeah, is Hacksaw Ridge one of the greatest war films? I'm gonna say no. It's a good one. It's an enjoyable one, but at least in my lifetime, I think Saving Private Ryan always goes down as one of my all-time favorites. Um, some of those scenes were, to me, in their time, really cutting edge and riveting scenes, and those will always stick with me. That will always go down as one of my favorites. But this is a solid one. It's a good one. It's worth the watch if you haven't seen it. But just keep in mind that if you have a weak stomach, do keep that in mind before going into it. But like every great sports film, it's inspirational and has a great conclusion and ending to it. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. If you've seen it, leave a comment down below. It's super appreciated to get likes and get comments down below. I love to talk movies with people, so let me know what you guys think. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out and let me know what you think after you see it. So until then, you guys take care. Bye.